What if the NFL isn't failing its young quarterbacks by mistake, but on purpose? Because what happened in Cleveland didn't feel random. It wasn't a bad play call or a simple rotation. It was calculated. It was deliberate. And when Derek Carr saw it happen to Shedeur Sanders, he didn't whisper about it. He exploded. This is the same Derek Carr who's built a reputation on loyalty and composure. 10 years in the league, multiple Pro Bowls, and never the loudest voice in the room. But now, he's had enough. He saw through the smokescreen, and for once, he said what everyone else was too afraid to. They didn't bench Shedeur to help him. They did it to bury him. Shedeur Sanders was ripped from a 2-minute drill, the exact moment a young QB builds confidence and earns trust. You don't take your future franchise guy out of that moment unless you're trying to send a message. And Carr read that message loud and clear. What if the NFL isn't failing its young quarterbacks by mistake, but on purpose? Because what happened in Cleveland didn't feel random. It wasn't a bad play call or a simple rotation. It was calculated. It was deliberate. And when Derek Carr saw it happen to Shedeur Sanders, he didn't whisper about it. He exploded. This is the same Derek Carr who's built a reputation on loyalty and composure. 10 years in the league, multiple Pro Bowls, and never the loudest voice in the room. But now, he's had enough. He saw through the smokescreen, and for once, he said what everyone else was too afraid to. They didn't bench Shedeur to help him. They did it to bury him. Shedeur Sanders was ripped from a 2-minute drill, the exact moment a young QB builds confidence and earns trust. You don't tape your future franchise guy out of that moment, unless you're trying to send a message. And Carr read that message loud and. What if the NFL isn't failing its young quarterbacks by mistake, but on purpose? Because what happened in Cleveland didn't feel random. It wasn't a bad play call or a simple rotation. It was calculated. It was deliberate. And when Derek Carr saw it happen to Shedeur Sanders, he didn't whisper about it. He exploded. This is the same Derek Carr who's built a reputation on loyalty and composure. 10 years in the league, multiple Pro Bowls, and never the loudest voice in the room. But now, he's had enough. He saw through the smokescreen, and for once, he said what everyone else was too afraid to. They didn't bench Shedeur to help him. They did it to bury him. Shedeur Sanders was ripped from a 2-minute drill, the exact moment a young QB builds confidence and earns trust. You don't take your future franchise guy out of that moment unless you're trying to send a message. And Carr read that message loud and. The timing of his comments matters too. The Browns are in one of the most fragile quarterback situations in the league. Joe Flacco is the starter, for now. Dylan Gabriel is the project, and Shedeur Sanders is the wild card. The moment any crack shows in Flacco's game, fans will be chanting for Sanders. The pressure is already boiling, and Derek Carr just poured gasoline on the fire. He didn't just question Stefanski's call. He went further. He called it the kind of move that loses locker rooms. And in the NFL, that's deadly. Once players believe coaches aren't giving them the best chance to win, or worse, that they're playing politics, the trust shatters. And when trust shatters, seasons collapse. What Carr's saying echoes what players have whispered for years. Sometimes it's not about talent. It's about control. Coaches don't like when players overshadow their system. They don't like when rookies with big personalities gain momentum too quickly. And Shedeur Sanders, he's already bigger than the Browns' playbook. Think about it. Jersey sales through the roof, millions of social media followers, ESPN segments dedicated to him before he's even started a game. That's not just hype. That's influence. And in the NFL, influence scares people. Carr sees it, fans see it, but the Browns staff, they're trying to contain it. Carr basically said out loud what no one in Cleveland wants to admit. Shedeur Sanders wasn't benched to protect him. He was benched to remind him who's in charge. But here's the problem with that strategy. Every time you sideline Sanders, the spotlight only grows brighter. Every snap he doesn't take becomes a headline. Every game he doesn't play becomes a debate topic. You're not killing the hype, you're feeding it. And Derek Carr knows it's only a matter of time before the Browns find themselves cornered. The chants will grow louder, the headlines will pile up, and when Flacco throws one too many interceptions, or when Gabriel looks shaky, the pressure will be impossible to ignore. Carr even warned Stefanski directly, "You don't play games with your locker room's future." That's not just a jab, that's a warning. Carr has seen how quickly a team can turn toxic when the locker room feels manipulated. He knows firsthand how it ends. Players lose faith, coaches lose jobs, and organizations spiral. And maybe that's why Carr's words sting so much, because they don't sound like speculation. They sound like prediction. He's not asking what if, he's saying when. When the Browns' quarterback plan blows up, when fans revolt, when the locker room questions the staff, Carr believes it's inevitable, and Shedeur Sanders will be right in the middle of it. If you're wondering why Derek Carr cares so much, it's personal. Carr was once the future franchise quarterback too. The Raiders sold him as the savior, leaned on him, then turned on him the second things went south. He knows the pain of being blamed, benched, and tossed aside for optics. And maybe, just maybe, he sees the same storm brewing for Shedeur. Carr isn't just defending a young quarterback. He's fighting the ghost of his own career. And in doing so, he's exposing the ugly truth about the NFL. Sometimes it's not about who throws the best ball, it's about who controls the narrative. And right now, Kevin Stefanski's narrative doesn't line up with Shedeur Sanders' reality. Let's talk about Stefanski for a second. On paper, he's respected. He's a Coach of the Year winner. He brought stability to a historically chaotic franchise. But his biggest flaw? He's cautious. Too cautious. And that cautiousness is exactly what Derek Carr just shredded. Carr accused Stefanski of being afraid of letting Shedeur make mistakes, afraid of the spotlight being on someone bigger than him, afraid of what it means if the rookie succeeds too quickly. That fear might keep Stefanski in control, but it also might cost Cleveland their future. Because here's the truth, young quarterbacks need reps. They need failures. They need those 2-minute drills where they screw up, learn, and grow. Take that away, and you don't protect them, you stunt them. Carr made it clear, you don't build quarterbacks on the bench, you build them in the fire. And he's right. Every great quarterback had their shaky starts. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions his rookie year. Josh Allen was mocked for inaccuracy. Even Patrick Mahomes had people doubting him until he got actual playing time. The difference is, their teams let them fail forward. The Browns, they're trying to bubble wrap Shedeur, and Carr's saying what everyone else is thinking. That bubble wrap isn't about safety, it's about control. The irony is painful. Cleveland has spent decades searching for a quarterback. They've drafted them, traded for them, prayed for them, and every time, it's ended in disaster. Now, with Shedeur Sanders, they might finally have an answer, but instead of embracing it, they're dragging their feet. And Derek Carr just pulled the curtain back. He told the league what's really happening. The Browns aren't failing Shedeur by accident. They're doing it on purpose. Why? Because Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He's a brand, and brands scare coaches who want control. This is where Carr's comments hit hardest. He didn't just defend Sanders. He attacked the culture of the NFL itself. He basically said, if you don't fit the mold, they'll try to break you. That mold is safe, predictable, controllable. But Sanders, he's flashy, he's confident. He's already bigger than most rookies before playing a single down. That makes him dangerous, not to defenses, but to coaches who fear losing the narrative. And Carr's right. When the league doesn't know how to contain someone, they try to bury them. It's been happening for decades. But here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders isn't someone you can bury. He's too big, too talented, too marketable. And every attempt to hold him back only makes him more popular. That's why Carr's rant matters. Because it's not just commentary. It's a warning shot. If the Browns keep playing games, they won't just lose Shedeur. They'll lose the locker room. they'll lose the fans, and they'll lose any credibility they've built under Stefanski. Because in the NFL, you can survive a bad playbook. You can survive a rebuilding year, but you can't survive a fractured locker room. And if Carr is right, that's exactly where Cleveland is headed. Think about what's happening off the field too. Shedeur is already a business. His jersey sales are insane. His NIL fame followed him straight into the pros. He's not just a rookie quarterback, he's a walking empire. That kind of presence can uplift a team or completely overpower a coach who doesn't know how to handle it. Carr sees the writing on the wall. He knows the Browns can't contain Sanders forever. The question is, will they embrace it and ride the wave? Or will they fight it until the whole thing blows up? Carr even hinted at something deeper, that maybe Cleveland doesn't even want Shedeur to succeed too fast. Think about that. If Sanders becomes the face of the franchise overnight, who gets credit? Not the coach, not the front office. Suddenly, the power dynamic flicks, and that terrifies people who like control. So instead of giving him the reps he needs, they bench him under the disguise of development. Instead of building him up, they keep him contained. But all it does is fuel more suspicion, more controversy, and more pressure. And now, with Carr blasting Stefanski publicly, the Browns are cornered. Because it's not just fans or media anymore. It's players. It's veterans with credibility. And when players start siding with rookies over coaches, the foundation cracks. This isn't a minor controversy. This is a war of perception. Stefanski wants to be seen as in control, but Carr just exposed him as insecure. And in the NFL, perception spreads faster than game tape. Once a narrative like this takes off, it doesn't stop. Every press conference Stefanski gives will include a question about Shedeur. Every mistake Flacco or Gabriel makes will be followed by louder chants for Sanders. Derek Carr didn't just create drama, he accelerated a countdown. The Browns can either lean into Shedeur Sanders now or risk losing everything later. There's no middle ground anymore. Carr's message was simple. Stop playing politics, start playing football. Give the kid his reps. Let him fail. Let him grow. Or else, Cleveland won't just lose games. They'll lose their future. Because if you bury Shedeur Sanders long enough, someone else will dig him out. And the Browns will regret it forever. At the end of the day, Derek Carr's rant isn't about stirring headlines. It's about truth. He's lived it. He's seen how franchises crush quarterbacks with politics instead of patience. And he's warning Cleveland not to make the same mistake. The Browns wanted control. Instead, they now have chaos. And Shedeur Sanders, whether they like it or not, is at the center of it. The only question now, do the Browns embrace their future or bury it?